would I move to Northport in 2025 or 2026? Well, let's work through some of the pros and cons. For me personally, the thing that's unique about Northport and is undeniable, and I've heard some people say this in a way that they're like, they don't like it. And then because of the same thing, a lot of people do like it. And what I'm talking about is the layout of the city. So realistically, I mean, you've got like Price and Sumter, which kind of feels like it could almost be like a downtown-ish type thing, intersection, but it's really not. It's more like, you know, big box store commercial stuff. There's a Walmart neighborhood market there, a McDonald's and a few other things. But, you know, there's a little bit of commercial stuff there, but not a ton. But realistically, I would say 80 to 85% of your shops and restaurants and things like that are going to be right on Tamiami Trail. And it's kind of like everything is there business-wise, and then everything else is very residential. And so what that does is, it's kind of unique. Like, some people don't like it because they're like, I've heard some people explain Northport as like, it's basically just a road, you know, with everything on it, and then there's nothing else. But then other people are like, that's awesome because it's like really, really quiet, you know, and there's more empty lots in between homes and their yards are a little bit bigger and it's a little more country feeling and quiet. And I think, you know, I can see people's points on both sides of that. Overall, I would say it's probably a pro, kinda. I don't know, like sometimes I'm like, you know, I like the idea of living somewhere where I can just like walk to lots of stuff. Well, I'm not gonna get that in Northport. That's definitely not gonna happen. But I grew up in the country, so I'm completely used to that and completely okay with that as well, and I can see the pro of that. And so I think there you kind of, I wouldn't say you get a best of both worlds, because you're not gonna get that walkability, but you're gonna get a best of both worlds in the fact that you're going to get a lot of, there's like a lot to offer as far as commercial shops and restaurants and things like that, and you know, like more big chains and things like that if that's what you want, and some mom and pop stuff as well. Don't get me wrong, some great stuff on that side of things in Northport as well. But you know, it's all kind of along Tamiami Trail for the most part. And then everything else is kind of just more tucked away, quiet. I do like my sidewalks and street lights, so I wouldn't get that in Northport just for walkability. I haven't explored the trails. You're gonna have to leave me a comment if you live in Northport and are watching this video, or if you've spent a lot of time in Northport and decided to go check out the trails. I like my trails, as you can tell. Let me know how the scene is on that side of things. I haven't really, because it's enough of a drive for me when I do these videos that I'm just like, it's just a little too far. I don't think I want to drive there just to do a walk and talk. You know what I mean? A lot of times I try to do stuff within, you know, a 10 to 15 minute, maybe 20 drive. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think on that side of things as far as Northport, if you have been to the area. But that would be a big one for me. I would have to know that. Even so, I don't think it would be a deal breaker, but it would be pretty big for me. And that being said, even though I'm not getting my sidewalks and streetlights there, again, it's quieter, it's more residential. The streets are not heavily trafficked in a lot of the residential areas. So because of that, I would still feel pretty comfortable doing walk and talks just like on the regular residential roads and without needing a sidewalk. So yeah, I don't know. I think overall on that side of things, I would be okay with the walking side of it. The quiet of it I would like. The yard size I would like. And this is a big one for me. This is exciting for me. I like the idea of buying a home and a lot next to it. And I would probably put a basketball court on it. So, because I'm a big basketball guy, I got another channel where I do basketball videos and I train players as well. By the way, this is not my main gig. My wife I help her with her real estate team. We help people buy and sell homes in the anywhere from Sarasota down to Port Charlotte, Englewood areas. That includes Northport, Venice, Wellen Park. Get a hold of us at any time, 941-221-1897. You can call or text us and we can help you avoid mistakes, get answers to questions that are impossible to find online, and help you save a lot of money. And our number one goal is always just to make sure that you're happy. But she knows all the stuff like on the contracts and legality side of things. I'm more of like the relocation guy and know more like about the areas and always keeping tabs on what's going on that side of things. That would be cool. Having that extra lot, maybe a couple lots, and just having that to have as my own for filming my YouTube videos for my basketball channel, training some players, etc. I think that would be pretty fun. So there's a little idea that I might have to think about a little bit more now. Now that I'm talking about them, might have to do that. But let's continue. As far as like the commercial shops and restaurants, for me personally, I think Northport would satisfy what I need for the most part. But whatever they don't have, I feel like, again, you're close enough to get access. So for me, one of my other biggest drawbacks with Northport that I don't like, I don't feel like Northport proper, and I know there's some people, we've had some clients say like, no, we do have this, and it's a downtown. And so Wellen Park is a Northport developed community, right? But with its location, and this is overall a pro, I would say, having access to it, but I would prefer that Northport develop their own downtown. And I just feel like that Price-Sumter, I feel like area has enough space and open areas to make that happen, and I wish they would do that. But still, you would get that access in Wellen Park. So just to give you the whole can of worms on that, because people always are wondering or asking, Wellen Park was developed by Northport. It's, you know, your utilities will go through them. They'll pick up your garbage, your taxes, all that's going to be through Northport. However, a lot of the addresses are Venice mailing addresses, and now some in Englewood as well, because Boca Raton became part of Wellen Park, which has Englewood addresses. So I don't know what to tell you on all that. But the point is, for me, being in Northport, you would get pretty good access, pretty quick access to that for a downtown, which I love downtowns. I love, you know, going around, walking around downtowns and just chilling, hanging out, maybe go to a restaurant, maybe go to a shop. And I would also get access then in Northport to Englewood's isn't too far. And Port Charlotte is also not too far for some more big box store amenities. Also a movie theater, which is big for me. They have one in the Half Dead Mall that they've got there. We'll see how long that can hang around. If that movie theater went out, that might be a problem. Because I don't think I'm not aware of one. And I should, again, look this up and maybe check it out if they do have one. But leave a comment again if you do live in Northport. I don't think they have a movie theater in Northport. Which is kind of crazy. I think if the Port Charlotte mall went out and that theater went out, I bet you Northport or Wellen Park would pick one up or, you know, build one. I would need me that. That would be another big one to put in consideration. And then of course, you know, you're also pretty close with access to Venice for more shops, restaurants, downtown. And then of course, you're gonna get beach access in Venice and Englewood. Now, being in Northport, you know, I'd be adding a lot of commute time to get to a beach. Right now, I can get to a beach in about 7-8 minutes. Northport, depends on one end. You know, you could be on the low end, I'd say about 20 minutes, maybe. If you're in Wellen Park, which is Northport, then yeah, 20 minutes is doable, maybe even a little bit less than 20 minutes. But like Northport proper, you know, like as you get over the Myakka River is kind of what we always consider Northport proper. Then yeah, okay, we're talking 20 minutes, maybe up to 30, 35 minutes. I could do it though. Honestly, like with as busy as we've been lately, just helping a lot of clients, and I'm busy with my basketball business as well, on top of helping Haiti with the real estate stuff, we don't get to the beach as much as we would like anymore. So I don't think it would be a big deal breaker necessarily. You know, maybe as I got older and we retired, then maybe we'd want to be closer to the beach again, but I don't know, even then, that brings to mind another pro and con to consider, but I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I don't know, I think 20 to 35 minute drive, not a big deal. It would kind of make you, you know, appreciate it more, make a day of it, or half a day of it and a trip of it. You know, it's nice now to be able to just go there on a whim, but I don't know. I think I could live with it, honestly, overall. And everyone's different, so, you know, if you're watching this, you know, a lot of people, like when we moved to the area originally, we were like, I don't know, we're gonna wanna have that beach access all the time. And we definitely ate it up and took advantage of it a lot the first 2, 3 years, 4 years. But then after that, I wouldn't say it was like we kind of got like bored of it or it wasn't a big deal. Like we still love it every time we go. It's just, we're just so busy. So, you know, it's just more of a matter of circumstance for us personally, but I don't know. It is nice when we have family in town. I'll say that. We kind of like, and that's part of why we're always busy. We're trying to get ahead on our work. So when family comes into town, we can have a little more time with them. And then we will go to the beaches quite a bit, or friends for that matter. So yeah, but I don't know. I think I could live with that, being a little bit further away. I don't think that would be a big deal breaker necessarily, honestly. Which brings me to that other point that I just thought of while I was talking about that too. And that's, you know, being a little bit more inland for hurricane risk is kind of nice. You know, a little bit less, a lot less risk for storm surge. You know, for basically, if you don't know what storm surge is, it's when if the hurricane, let's see, for you would be going this way. I always have to flip things around because of how the camera makes things backwards. Hurricanes always spin this way. So if the hurricane's above the city that you live in and it's going like this, it's gonna push the water here in and pull the water here out from the coastline. And so it's gonna literally push ocean water in. And that's where, you know, a lot of risk lies with homes and, you know, danger is storm surge. And so being more in gives you a little bit more cushion. So for me, that would be a overall upside, definitely, for sure. But then I would say the biggest thing for me when we're talking Northport that would make it appealing is the price point. I mean, it's always been less than like Venice, comparable to Englewood, probably a little bit less as a whole, I would say, but you know, pretty comparable. Similar to Port Charlotte, probably a little bit more, but you know, again, it's always going to depend on the home, the pocket of the neighborhood, all that kind of stuff is going to be something worth considering. But as a whole, the price point in Northport is awesome compared to like Venice or of course Sarasota, you know. So that side of things is really enticing just because you could have a lower mortgage, maybe no mortgage, depending on what we would move into, but you could maybe go really low mortgage, which would be really cool, and just kind of let you relax a little more, have a little more free time, not be so busy all the time maybe because you don't feel like you need to work as much. But then on top of that, I think, you know, also the land possibilities, and this is a big one. The ability to get something new-ish or brand new construction in Northport would be really, really cool, because now you're talking about less, you know, maintenance and hassles and things to worry about for quite a while, you know, 5 to 10 years probably before, you know, maybe 5 years before you have a few smaller things, and 10 to 15 for more of the bigger things like roof, water heater, air conditioning, stuff like that. And yeah, you just as a whole too, you know, in Northport, a lot of times you're gonna get a little bit more home for your money, a little bit bigger. So, you know, you put all that together and being able to get it in not an HOA community, which right now we live in an HOA community. I could go either way on that. You know, I don't think I would wanna live in a high-priced HOA community for sure. But, and that's another thing I guess worth considering that I would definitely consider. There are some newer communities, HOA communities with really good price points, and the more I'm thinking about this is kind of enticing, and some really good incentives. Like a lot of these new plan communities are giving some amazing incentives right now, and there's a few of these in Northport, not Wellen Park, like Northport, like Cedar Grove is one of them, and there's a few, there's a critter in there. There's a few more that are being built up kind of by 75 there. Also, that makes me think of one other thing to mention. There's a new hospital coming to Northport. I think it's going to be built and completed in like 27 or 28 though. So it is a little far off, but that's another nice thing for me to consider. Some of those new construction communities with the incentives right now and lower priced HOAs would be pretty enticing. Again, I wouldn't want to go high priced HOA. I would be okay no HOA or low HOA. And so there's plenty of that in Northport, and I think that's a pretty enticing proposition. So if I put that into consideration with everything else, yeah, I would say in 2025, 2026, I would definitely consider moving to Northport. I probably would. I don't know if we're gonna make a move right now, but the more I think about that idea I gave you earlier about having like a home with a couple extra lots, like it's not my first time thinking about it, but it's like thinking about it now, it's like, you know what, this might be the time to make that happen. So maybe, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll be changing the name of the channel soon to Life in Northport, Florida. But yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about Northport. And as always, if you are looking to buy or sell a home anywhere from Sarasota down to Port Charlotte, Englewood, Venice, Northport, Wellen Park, get a hold of our team, 941-221-1897. You can call or text us at any time. We can help you avoid mistakes, get answers to questions that are often impossible to find online, and help you save a lot of money. And as always, our number one thing is making sure you are happy buying or selling. And if you want to know more about the pros and cons of Northport, check out this video right here. Thanks for watching and live breezy.